Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Wahlstrom, and today I'll be discussing with you my findings and analysis on the state of Arizona's language development approach. English language learners, also referred to as ELL students, are defined through the state of Arizona as a student who does not speak English as their native language. These students can have difficulty with reading, writing, speaking, and comprehending English in the classroom. With that being said, this means that students could have more limited success in the classroom. When it comes to assistance for English language learners, there are several options available to students for additional support in their day-to-day schooling. These can include ESL, or English as a Second Language, bilingual instructional programs, sheltered English instruction, or SEI, or structured English immersion. English as a Second Language programs are considered an intensive English language instructional program. This program is provided by a certified teacher with the goals of the students to gain full English proficiency so they can participate in school equitably. The process starts with the assessment for students to determine eligibility. From here, if the students are deemed approved for the program, they will be placed in a content-based ESL program or an ESL pullout. The overall goals of these programs is the same with different instructional methods. Content-based EL students receive all content areas by a certified ESL teacher. Pullout ESL is where a student may be pulled out or taken to another classroom for certain segments of the day, like language arts or reading. Bilingual instructional programs are when the students have the opportunity to learn both in their native language and English at the same time. In the best case, this program would be implemented when many students in the classroom speak the same language. However, this is not always the case, as some schools are implementing their own bilingual programs to also help promote learning more than one language to as many students as they can. When this style of program comes into play, it is usually in an area where the language population of students are speaking the same native language. Instruction will start out in the student's native language and then will be taught in English. The teacher of these must be proficient in both languages used in the classroom. Sheltered English instruction is when a group of students from a minority in the area who usually speak different languages are placed together in a classroom. From here, teachers use English as a medium to provide content-based instruction. They may also use visual imagery and gestures to help support the needs of students in the classroom. The goal of this instruction is that sheltered English and content-based programs focus on content being taught rather than the use of the language, with the hope that the students can adapt and can proficiently increase the students' level of English usage. In structured English immersion classes, students are taught in English only through content-based instruction. There is no explicit SEL used. English is used to teach all content areas. Teachers in structured English immersion usually have receptive skills and bilingual understanding of the students' native languages. These teachers usually have ESL teaching credentials. If necessary, the teacher should be able to use the student's native language for primary clarification of English instruction, but no more than that. In these programs, many students are considered mainstream students within 2 to 3 years. The Arizona Development Approach states that they know that EL students are important to the community and the school system. These students are individuals and they will be at their own level. The state and the school systems must have an active role in fostering the success of students in Arizona. There is a four-part system in place to determine, monitor, and support EL students. This includes assessing and monitoring, asset-based behaviors and expectations, integrated instruction and disciplinary language and content, and then targeted and explicit language instruction, with the overall goal being the success of each student. Student agency is the process of asset-based behaviors and expectations for students. Through student agencies, EL students will be provided with the opportunity to show mastery and competency in skills. Students will be supported in finding their own zone of proximal development. This is what a learner can do with and without support. Student strengths and experiences are recognized and works to create a learning community to support all students. Student agencies also help to reinforce mindsets and learning and highlight students who are overcoming challenges. Lastly, student agencies help address the social, emotional, and physical needs of students. The four principles of the Arizona Language Development Approach are Principle 1, asset-based behaviors and expectations. This can include biliteracy assets for students used at a level range, home language, cultural assets, and ensure that respect to students' cultures and linguistics are safe, affirming, and inclusive. Principle 2, integrated instruction and disciplinary language. The content states educators will create differentiated disciplinary language instruction. This can use English language proficiency standards. Students should be immersed in language-rich environments, and EL students should have a deep learning and engagement in academics, reading, writing, and discussions. Principle 3, targeted and explicit language instruction includes opportunities that are made for students to use language in all aspects. This includes writing, reading, speaking, and listening. EL students will also be supported with grade-level disciplinary content to develop discourse practices. Students will be provided with explicit instruction and understanding of how language is used and functions within different areas of content. And then lastly, Principle 4, assessment, monitoring, and feedback. This states educators use formative and summative assessments that require language usage and embed in rich content. Data is used to make connections and plan instruction for ELP standards that are used to guide in assessing language that is learned. In Arizona, there are several approved structural English immersion programs. These include Newcomer, Pull Out, 2-hour, and 50-50 dual immersion. These programs were created to be used in both school districts as well as charter schools, with the goal to provide instruction that is aligned with the Arizona English Language Proficiency Standards and performance indicators. They need to include oral and written language instructions, as well as complex language content with grade level and materials to support students. They may also include parental engagement strategies. Under the idea of newcomer students, the families should feel there is a clear vision of how to succeed, as well as how to access and achieve success for students. The EL students should be provided with high-quality education. This includes the integration of targeted ELDs. Students who started these schools are in pre-emergent or emergent levels and who have interrupted formal education will be supported through the newcomer programs. Students in grade K through 5 will receive around 120 minutes of ELD instruction daily, as well as 120 minutes of integrated ELD instruction. The pull-out, push-in program is instruction that is trained teachers of content areas provide to students for the overall goal that the students are being promoted language acquisition and content knowledge. Students in grade K through 5 will receive 60 minutes daily of ELD and 60 minutes daily of integrated ELD in a mainstream classroom. Students grades 6 through 12 will receive 50 minutes daily of ELD and 50 minutes daily of integrated ELD in a mainstream classroom. The 2-hour program is considered targeted English language development for students. This is done daily in an SEI classroom. Mainstream content teachers and their general education classrooms, teachers also work to integrate and support language for EL students throughout the remainder of the time in the classroom. Students receive around 120 minutes in grade K through 5 of targeted ELD. Students in grades 6 through 12 will receive 100 minutes of targeted ELD. The 50-50 dual immersion program is a combination of integrated ELD in English and a portion of dual language program. These students receive 30 minutes targeted English language development. They will then take grades K through 12 and receive 90 minutes integrated ELC, and 6th through 12th graders will receive 70 minutes ELC. I want to thank you so much for your time today. I have a list of references here if you wish to learn any more about the topics that I covered today. Thank you.